Now, I'll give you small instances in this particular film which really stood out, and I actually had to put on my thinking cap as to why the filmmaker did this. Now, the time period of this film is from 2000, and obviously they are talking about the 2002 riots. Then, out of the blue, there is a scene where Dawood Ibrahim comes up. He's seen as incapacitated. He's on a hospital bed, and it is shown that it is because of an Indian agent. He goes and gives him a pill which can harm him in some way. And then we also see loose ends like Atiq Ahmed's murder, the killing, the encounter which happened when he was brought in from the jail, and I don't know how they are linking that particular time period with Atiq Ahmed's murder. Now, Atiq was killed in 2023. And, and he was a gangster, which everybody knew, but the manner in which he was killed, everybody criticized that. But here in this particular film, it is shown as if it was a laudatory job. It was something which was very well taken. And in that backdrop, what is shown is that various Pakistani terror havens are decimated, they are demolished. And of course, in that same sequence, Atiq Ahmed is also killed. What would you say to loose ends like these, which are, which are made to believe that, these are real life stories? And these young, impressionable minds, what will they take back home?
Well, that tells you the success of the WhatsApp University. That tells you the power of misinformation, disinformation, fake news, and alternative information that is spread. Think about it, right, Neelu? Actually, Narendra Modi's foreign policy has made him look like a weak man, right? Every day the Congress calls him Narendra Surrender for a reason. Donald Trump on Operation Sindoor has called it out over 100 times that India compromised and or struck the ceasefire on his advice. Has Modi contradicted that even once? No. The truth is India stopped buying Russian oil on American pressure. In fact, the Americans have been openly saying that, listen, do what we ask you to do. In fact, we said we will buy Venezuelan oil on American pressure. Right now, I mean, everybody knows that India went and backed Israel in this war on account of American pressure. And
but given the fact what you've just pointed out, Sanjay, that he's a weak prime minister, he looks compromised, he's surrendered. Do you think that now brand Modi is seeking legitimacy through films like these? Because what I remember in the scene was that there is a scene which shows Dawood Ibrahim, discussing with his henchmen that, look, this chaiwala prime minister who's been elected now as the Prime Minister of India won't let us survive. He's making things difficult. Now, that is again something which the BJP has been building, as the time is passing by. So that is one bit which they say. Then there is a reference to the fictional NSA, who says that this is new India, and he's trying to speak to the terror elements in Pakistan and says that, and sends out a message that this is new India. We act differently. We are not like yesteryears. So this is the underlining message. So do you think that with movies like these, with propaganda films like these, Modi is trying to seek legitimacy for a brand which has waned long time back?
I think today, for example, if anybody believes that Narendra Modi is being a good prime minister or he is good in foreign policy or national security, is clearly misinformed or uninformed or pure ignorant. I mean, Manipur burnt. Modi did not even go. Modi did not even go there for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Can you imagine? A prime minister did not go to Manipur. You talk of national security. Pahalgam happened, right? Could he stop it? Could he stop it? Do we even now know who was responsible behind Pulwama, where 40 CRPF soldiers were killed near a CRPF battalion camp? And this government has been a disaster of epic proportions, and that's a fact. And then you had the attack, the Red Fort attack as well, the terror attack. Where is this government? This government, in fact, in my opinion, scores a 0 on national security and a 0 on foreign policy. Look at it today. You are not, because of the U-turn we did in terms of our strategic autonomy, we literally have signed up on the side of Israel and America. Today, you're not getting access to the LPG or the LNG or crude oil coming in from the Strait of Hormuz. There's a reason behind that. I mean, for God's sake, can you imagine, that an Iranian warship is actually brought down near Sri Lanka, not too far from our own territorial water boundaries. And the government is not able to intervene or make an official statement. Can you imagine this spiritual leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed in a political assassination, and Modi did not once utter a political message. I mean, so much of fear of Israel and America. Unbelievable. I mean, I've never seen a prime minister so.
And ultimately, Modi chooses to speak to the Iranian president after so many days. That is
because of cooking gas, because he needs cooking gas.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the desperation that he doesn't, after 12 days of the war, he's compelled to speak to the Iranian president, by the way. And then you get TV channels to say, 3 ships came, but that is literally like 3 days supply.
Absolutely.
I mean, what are you talking about? And by the way, according to reports, the whole deal they're negotiating is to release 3 Iranian ships that have been seized by India. And the second part is that India is sending medical equipment and supplies to Iran. So nothing is now happening because Iran is just being very magnanimous or generous with Modi. In fact, if you listen to the Iranian ambassador, he made a very clear statement. He says the friendship between the people of Iran and the people of India. He did not talk about the Narendra Modi government. And India has a historical relationship with Iran. I mean, for Narendra Modi to dance to the tune of Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu is known to have, he's got an arrest warrant for genocide, and we are batting on his side. I mean, Donald Trump, who's humiliated India, who's humiliated Modi, who, by the way, is a sexual predator accused of rape of underage girls. You're on the side of that America that the world today sees as most unreliable, mercurial maverick. I mean, Modi doesn't know the ABC of foreign policy. He doesn't understand international security.
But, I want to come back to, since we are talking about Dhurandhar Part 2, I'm just wondering that what has happened to the cinematic creativity? Are the filmmakers not able to make films on subjects like what me and you are talking about, the real life situations, the crisis, how people are undergoing so many troubles in their everyday lives, whether it is the falling rupee, whether it is poverty, whether it is unemployment? These filmmakers don't have any idea about these kind of troubles. And why do they want to make films only which are there to please Prime Minister Modi, or which are favoring BJP's agenda?
Well, let me tell you, the BJP is a political party, like all political parties, and more especially those who are very authoritarian. For them, perception and image is all that matters. Reality can take a backseat, right? So, for example, on GDP, as we have been saying for a long time, the Peterson Institute, which is, by the way, got a report written by Arvind Subramanian, one of the most respected economists, who was earlier the chief economic advisor to the Modi government, who's gone on to say that India's GDP is not 6%, it's 4%, which is why India doesn't have jobs, right? We keep thinking, why is India's GDP, according to Modi, high, but where are the jobs? Why are people struggling? Why is there so much of corruption? Why are projects not completed on time? Why is AQI so bad? Why is the farmer suffering? Why is the middle class paying taxes, right? Why is the GST so high? The reason behind that is India's GDP is not what it is being told to the world. So the point, Neelu, to answer your question is, these guys are into image. These guys are always in this obsession for every activity is linked to image. So Narendra Modi wears the clothes.
To what you're saying, even the earlier prime ministers were there. They had the liberty to use cinema to create a perception about themselves or their party. But why didn't the earlier prime ministers do it? I never saw Dr. Manmohan Singh appearing in any Bollywood film. I didn't see, of course, there was one movie made on Indira Gandhi that was Andhi. And of course, some portions were deleted, but it did go on air. But here in today's times, it's completely different. I mean, is cinema, is this a norm or a pattern where the prime minister or the ruling dispensation uses cinema also as a PR tool now?
It does. Of course it does, right? I mean, look at what happened to Nasiruddin Shah when he was critical of the government. Look at how they hounded him, right? What happened to Shah Rukh Khan? Let's take example of Shah Rukh, very popular, probably the most popular soft power exporter from India, especially to the NRI diaspora. Now, look at Shah Rukh Khan's case. his franchise KKR picks up a Bangladesh player. Did you see how they went after him? Right. I mean, end of day, it's a very blatant, it's flagrant, it's very unambiguous. The targeting is very unambiguous. So today, if you look at cinema, by and large, if you are going to be critical of the government, your film won't be released. Let me give you two examples, right? There was an ad I remember of Tanishq and an ad of Surf, if I remember correctly. Both the advertisements were television commercials talking about communal harmony, social syncretic nature of our society, basically bringing different communities together, Hindu, Muslim, to be more specific. And what did you find? An outrage against that. So you are in a country today where if you publish anything that the government is uncomfortable with, they'll go after you. So Bollywood is compromised because Bollywood, I'm sure, have got skeletons in their cupboard, or they're plain and simple scared. I mean, I can't imagine, because I haven't seen this film, you have. A man, even if he's a gangster, is killed on live television. Neelu, we saw that, right? Atiq Ahmed was killed on live television. And there were people celebrating that as if,
Yes.
we don't care. Encounter killing is okay. We are a banana republic is okay. Law and order doesn't matter. A process of criminal justice doesn't matter. So I think somewhere down the line, this whole euphoria which has been manufactured, and I believe India's mainstream media is guilty of actually misleading the people of this country through their sustained vicious attack on minorities. And, this whole campaign of calumny and, constant targeting of India's vulnerable minorities, Dalits including, even the Christians were attacked during Christmas. You realize that the BJP is actually corrupted the entire communication system of a country. The entire infrastructure of public outreach today is compromised. What you see is not what you get. And Modi and his government, in my opinion, have used every trick in the bag to keep the ordinary Indian confused. If you can't convince them, confuse them. He doesn't want an average Indian to think about the fact that you don't have a job. AI is going to destroy more jobs. He's not doesn't want you to think about pollution and AQI. He doesn't want you to think about corruption. He doesn't want you to think about the rupees at 93.x. He doesn't want you to think about national security, the threat to life, the overall quality of life that you lead. Show them a film, entertain them, look like the ultimate supreme leader, the big hero, and do the positioning, make the opposition look bad, attack Rahul Gandhi, make Congress look, as if they didn't care for national interest. That's his whole game plan. And the BJP and the Indian Bollywood industry isn't collaborating to fulfill that objective. Unfortunate, but true.
Absolutely. And you'll get goosebumps when you see certain scenes of this particular film. It's a 4 hours torture, if I may say, on record, but it does make Modi into a hero. It panders to the BJP agenda, and which is why many people on the social media are saying that was this script written in the BJP office. We leave it to the viewers. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining on HW News. Thank you.